It seems that the extreme music resonates really well with the spiritual thoughts. What do you think? Why is that?
Well, that's an interesting point. That's a real interesting point because, well, I think it's because what we call extreme music is dark. We'll leave bullshit out. The bottom line is, we want to think that it's not for everybody. We call it extreme because it's extremely fast, or it's extremely slow, or it's extremely tuned down. Everything about this music is extreme. Extremely loud. Extreme, just for everything. And that draws a particular type of person, not just some consumer of music. It draws in a crowd. In what this music invokes its counterpart or its parallel. Its counterpart can be people that don't like it, but yet there's this ugly truth to them that generates this morbid curiosity of, God, music sounds horrible, but I want to hear more. You know, it's like that new Revenge album. I mean, people would never even listen to metal, hear that, and they just can't believe it, and they're impressed. But that's the spiritual part of that person being unleashed, unlocked out of that cage that a lot of just superficial pop music has repressed. And so something about extreme music, it's a very complex topic because you're talking psychology and the science of sound. Something about faster drum beats, certain scales, certain sounds of voices, just they do something to the mind that I don't know. I can't. I may not make sense trying to put it into words, but this music will do that. Put people into a different state of mind. That's why we make this music. That's why just there's a good reason why in the church they used Gregorian chants or organs, those droning sounds. They affect the brain in a certain way. Scientists try to understand it by having people, listen to music while they're under this CAT scan, and they study the brain and how it reacts to certain sounds. But it's just wasted research. It's not, we'll never know because it's also spiritual. And you can't find a spiritual explanation through some CAT scan, a laboratory. And that's where, when we talk about music for the gods or the universe and we resonate with the universe, and there's a connection between sound, let's not even say music, but there's a connection between sound, the universe, and our emotions in the middle of those two. These heavens, this earth, and sound. And if you do it a certain way, sure, all music will make you feel something. But extreme music will make you feel extremely something. Extremely happy, sad, aggressive, dark. To me, that's the biggest mystery. Dark, what is that? It's not depressed, but it's not happy. That's why I use the word spiritual a lot. It's that feeling where you turn the lights out and you're in absolute darkness, but you feel comfortable. That comfort, that soothing feeling. Maybe like when we were in a womb. And before the womb, I don't know where we were, but our brain remembers that. It's soothing. Some extreme black metal gives you that comfort. You feel good. To me, that's a spiritual state. Why we like it, I don't know.
There was a certain scale called tritons or Diabolus in Musica that was banned by the church. Probably there was a good reason for that, because they try to keep the mankind in ignorance.
You said it. And we talked about the church and its secrets, right? They're smart. They had all the money in the world since not ancient times, but for thousands of years. They've had all the money in the world to do research, for what today we call it science, but the church, they know all the secrets of mankind. They know how music affects people. They know. There's a good reason why only the church was allowed to have certain instruments. Certain instruments. Their churches were designed a certain way, so the cathedrals, so the sound of music and voices, this echo, that reverb, creates something in people. All that is designed, of course, the visuals obviously, but the sound, we're talking about music. So the church has always had a great understanding of what certain chants and scales can do. And yeah, don't play the black keys, But yeah, you're right.
Do you intentionally use it when you're creating music, or is it just a natural, instinctual thing?
Use what?
These darker sound, or this kind of monk chanting that you're doing?
Absolutely intentional. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not about evil. No, it's not about that. Oh, I want to sound strange. No, the purpose behind it is, I really don't know. I just do it because it comes to heart and mind. So when I say I don't know, I don't mean it in an ignorant way, like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but a little bit, kind of like, I think it's kind of like how in ancient times writers or musicians felt like a higher force was guiding them to do what they're doing. And no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that some supreme being is channeling through me, but you never know. There's something where some of us musicians, we have, and I don't like calling it a gift. I don't like calling it that. It sounds to me, some guys, they'll say, oh, I have this gift, and oh no, I just use I do what I like. When you do what you like, you're supposed to be good at it, because you're doing what you like, and you're happy. And when you're happy, you can do good things. But when you start making music, when you're writing, for example, you're writing a song, and you find these, like on this new album that's not even released yet, I find moments where I go, okay, I tried to write that. I'm just setting an example. Oh, I tried to write that, but where the hell did this thing happen? How? Maybe I find another riff. So I write one riff. Oh, I'm happy with it. I think it's amazing. And then I can go on for days. All musicians go through this. You're kind of stuck, and then all of a sudden this explosion of creativity just hits you without trying, and bam, and it was the perfect part for that perfect spot. And that's when, as a musician, you start thinking, come on, there's got to be more than just psychology in music. Maybe I'm not thinking that some high supreme being just put that riff in my hand, and no, but I think it's the brain and the mind need time to kind of evaluate what you're doing with the song. In other words, you are not writing the song. Your mind is writing the song. It's tricky to understand. Your ego is not writing that song. It's your mind. Or, okay, soul, but you have to let it do what it wants to do. When you start controlling your mind in music, it's fine. You'll write intelligent music, but spiritual. So you have to let the spirit write the song. When you let the spirit write the song, you might know the rest of the answer. You'll come up with some music that's pretty profound. There's other times where you shut it off. You say, okay, I'm going to write this riff. I want something brutal. But then there's other moments where you go, I'm going to take a back seat and just let the Spirit see where the song needs to go.
Talking about the next album, do you have any news on the release date?
The rumor is June, somewhere around. I won't give dates because that can always change. But June.
You recorded it in Seattle, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And how would you describe the new album?
In one word, powerful. It's very powerful. The more superficial aspects, just it's very metal. It's not this, we're not becoming this black metal so blackened where, it's, and I love black metal of all kinds, it's not some Death Spell Omega or anything like that, nor is it just, black heavy metal, or it's a very, very powerful album musically. The riffs are very heavy. It's a very brutal album. The vocals are very dark. Very dark. And different from any album. No disappointments. It's an extremely Inquisition. It's everything you expect, and I want to think that better than what you expect. Yeah. I've already gotten feedback from a few people, and very good feedback. Yeah.
When you redefined Inquisition and you turned the band into a black metal band from thrash metal band, what was it like first to play black metal spiritually on stage or in the studio in general?
It wasn't easy right away, because it takes time for the mind, like I said, the spirit to evolve into what black metal really, I think, should be and is. So at first it felt the way it did when I was playing thrash metal. I like the headbanging moments and the dynamics and playing something faster, but it wasn't immediately this very, very profound thing. And people should be proud to hear that, because I'm being honest. And I'm being honest because you don't just, maybe some bands do, but no, I didn't just turn on a switch one night and say, light a candle and immediately go, I'm going to make some good black metal and it's going to be so deep and so spiritual. And no, it takes time to get to that level. For me, it did. And it's a great experience. I like that, because it's like you're learning and you are earning as you go.
You had a bass player for a short time, but after that you decided to continue the band as a two-piece band. When you, let's say, lost your bass player and you tried to create your own sound, your own guitar sound, in what way did you challenge yourself to replace the bass guitars and coming up with your own unique guitar sound? The reason I'm asking this because when I first heard your songs, I had two thoughts on that. First, I can hear some sort of classical guitar techniques in your song to replace the bass and all these lower sound, and also in jazz it's called walking bass. So I don't know if it was intentional. It was just more or less a natural thing.
You basically answered your own question, which is good, because. But what I'll add is the style was never created because of the lack of a bass. It's how I wanted to play. It was a combination between the few years of classical guitar that I took and hearing some of these beautiful riffs that like on Nightside Eclipse, Vampire and early Burzum was doing. And I thought, I've done this stuff before. I'm thinking, on my classical guitar, and I can do that. And I love the huge, just fat, old thrash guitar sound. And I told myself, what if I merge those two things? And always push the limits with the amp, but use these nice, beautiful, rich, full, harmonically rich chords. People call them power chords, but in not just a metal sense. Bring out some of these classical chords, but not sounding neoclassical. It's very important. Very important. I don't, I never wanted to sound like, like Paganini stuff and in minors, no. So, but yeah, you said it is, there's walking bass lines. I love that. Because what you're doing is you're playing with these, it's like counterpoints, in music. We have what's called counterpoints. You also have these almost like fugues within the chords themselves, the bass lines and the lead lines, and they're doing this dance within this one block area of your chords, just like when people on an organ, same thing. But you don't want it to sound boring and stale. So there's a lot of psychology in the spirit thing I was telling you about. When you want to avoid getting sounding too boring or overdoing something that's special, you want to keep it special. So
If Inquisition's music could be transferred into a movie or a painting, let's say, what would you imagine for that?
So that's a tough question. I always like the Goya paintings. I always thought that's kind of like a world of Inquisition itself. Not everything has to be about the stars and the universe. I like the colors and the tones. Of course, some of the old Paul Maskey films. That movie, Haxan, that old Swedish film, to me that's very Inquisition-esque. Yeah. We're not just we're not just about cosmos. It's the infernos. The mythology of hell.
Do you plan to shoot a video clip for the next album, for any song?
I don't really want to. I don't think the world needs one. There's so many out there. It's been proposed, but I don't think so.
I can imagine some sort of cosmological thing about that.
The truth is, people will know now. Nobody knows this until now. We shot a video for the previous album. We spent a lot of money. A lot. Trashed it. Yeah. We're not releasing that. And that's when I realized videos are they're not what you think they are. You do all this work and then you sit down and for 5 minutes you're watching this thing and you're thinking, okay, so people are going to be watching us, moving around, playing with flashes of images. So the only way to do a video is do something incredible, just like an album. Don't do something good. Do something amazing if you can. And that's the thing. That video is going to be around forever.
If you had a chance to pick the bands for an Inquisition tribute album, who do you want to hear to cover your songs?
That's another one. I don't know. There's bands that come to mind, but I know for sure if I give you a list now, I'll be leaving out some bands. I'm not a big fan of them, but Unholy Hell, I respected the guy so much and his songwriting. But one band for sure, I think I would have liked to have heard Dissection cover an Inquisition song. That would be a good one. Definitely, especially because they have kind of the same. John had a little bit of the style that we use. That would be one. That'd be one of the bands for sure.
What are your plans for this year?
We got, all the summer stuff. It's probably the most uninteresting thing for people to hear, but those festivals are necessary. They're a tool. We use it. It's like a hammer in your toolbox. But the interesting thing that people should would like to hear probably is our headlining tour in October. And the best part is we have that new album in June. So, same cycle, but always making it more interesting in small steps. So,
Do you have any message to your fans?
just a big thank you. That's it. They have choices, and it's amazing that they've supported the simplicity of this band, how much support we've got, how much we're doing, thanks to them. So we never forget that, for sure.
Thank you for the interview and for the concert too.
Thank you.